Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, there lived a king and queen. After many years of longing for a child, the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The king threw a big party and invited some fairies. The fairies brought gifts for the baby. A wicked fairy arrived at the party, angry that he wasn't invited. The wicked fairy placed a curse on the baby. He said, when the princess reaches her 16th birthday, she will prick her finger on a spindle and die. One of the fairies used magic to soften the curse. She said, the princess will not die, but instead fall into a deep sleep for 100 years. The king banned all spinning wheels from the kingdom. When the princess turned 16, she found an old woman spinning. She had never seen a spinning wheel before and became curious. The princess pricked her finger and fell to the floor in a deep, deep sleep. The king and queen found the princess and put her to bed. Soon, everyone else in the castle fell into a deep sleep. Many years passed and a forest of trees, brambles, and thorns grew around the palace. After 100 years, a handsome prince found the castle hidden in the thorns and trees. The prince entered the castle and found the sleeping princess. She was beautiful. The prince kissed the sleeping princess and she awoke. The rest of the palace woke up and they all lived happily ever after. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Little Mermaid. Long ago there lived a sea king in a coral palace at the bottom of the sea. He had 6 mermaid daughters. While 5 of them were happy, his youngest daughter Ariel wasn't very happy. Ariel loved going up to the surface of the water. She would often swim up to see the blue sky and the green trees on the land. The beautiful fish and pretty shells didn't seem to make her smile. Even stories told by her father failed to make her happy. One night, Ariel secretly left her home and made her way to the surface. In the stormy night, the waves crashed wildly against the rocks. The lightning threw light on a ship rolling and pitching at sea. Beside the ship a young man was signaling for help. Ariel immediately saw him and swam to rescue him. She brought him to the shore and rested him gently against a rock. This young man made her smile. A beautiful young girl approached, so Ariel left the surface and headed back to the sea palace. The first thing the young man saw when he opened his eyes was the beautiful girl. He was very happy as he thought she was the one who rescued him. The beautiful girl was a princess. Ariel always thought of the young man. One day she visited Ursula the witch and asked her to grant her a wish. She wanted to go to the surface and visit the land. The witch listened, stirring her potion while chanting. The witch agreed to grant her the wish under one condition. Ariel will be able to walk and dance, but not talk or sing, losing the power of her speech. Ariel agreed and was soon granted her wish. Once her wish was granted, Ariel made her way to the royal palace hoping the prince would remember her. A grand ball was being held in the palace. Not knowing Ariel, the palace guards refused to let her inside. Listening to the music coming from the palace, Ariel started dancing merrily. Seeing her beautiful dance, the guards allowed her to enter the palace. There were beautiful bright lamps lit and the air was filled with music and laughter. Ariel finally found the prince, sitting on his throne. Beside him sat a beautiful princess. The prince did not realize that Ariel was the one who rescued him. The prince announced the princess as his future bride and princess of the kingdom. That announcement left Ariel in tears. She ran out of the palace back to the sea and suddenly realized that it didn't matter that the prince had found his princess. She could, in fact, be happy surrounded by beautiful fish, pretty shells, and listening to her father's stories. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Thumbelina. Once upon a time, there lived a lonely old woman who longed for a daughter. The years had gone by and her dream had never come true. One day, sad and desperate, she decided to visit a good witch. The witch took pity on her and gave her a tiny seed. Plant this in a flower pot and you will have your wish. The woman did as she was told, and after 1 week, a beautiful flower grew. In the center of the flower was a tiny child with golden hair. The old lady was delighted and picked the little girl up and gave her a tiny hug. "I will call you Thumbelina," said the lady, "for you are no bigger than my thumb." Thumbelina and the old lady lived happily for many years. The girl slept in a bed made from a walnut shell. She loved the old woman very much. One night, when the old lady was asleep, a giant toad hopped through an open window and kidnapped Thumbelina. "You are a pretty little creature," said the toad. "You will make the perfect bride for my handsome son." When they reached the toad's pond, she set Thumbelina down before her son. Thumbelina began to cry. He was scary, slimy, and covered in warts. Thumbelina just wanted to go home. The next day, while the two toads were making wedding arrangements, they left Thumbelina on a lily pad in the middle of the pond. Some fish heard her sobbing and nibbled through the lily pad's stem to set her free. Thumbelina floated down the stream for a long time, past woods and fields of flowers. She was happy to be free of the toads, but she was scared she would never find her way back home. Suddenly a beetle swooped down and grabbed Thumbelina by the waist. He flew her into a tree, saying, "You don't look much like a beetle, but you are very pretty." The beetle's friends came to see Thumbelina, but they weren't very pleased with her. "Look how ugly she is," they said. "She only has 2 legs, and where are her feelers?" The beetle did not want to be seen with her after this, so he placed Thumbelina on a daisy in the forest and left her there. Thumbelina wept for hours. "I am so ugly, not even the beetle wants me," she thought. Thumbelina lived for a long time in the forest. She made a blanket out of leaves and sheltered herself from the rain under a plant. The weather began to turn and winter came. Thumbelina became very cold and the plants around her shriveled and died. A field mouse found her shivering and took her into her warm house for the winter. Thumbelina helped with the cleaning and told the mouse stories, and they lived very happily together. One day the field mouse told Thumbelina she was expecting a visit from her neighbor, the mole. "He is very rich and has a much larger house than mine. If he will take you for his wife, you would be very well looked after." When the mole visited, he could not see Thumbelina as he was blind, but he was enchanted by the sound of her beautiful voice. For many weeks Thumbelina visited the mole in his tunnel to keep him company. She told him stories of the flowers and the sun, but he did not like the outside world. He liked to be in his dark, damp tunnels underground. One day when they were walking, they came across a bird who had fallen freezing through the ground into the tunnel. Thumbelina was sad for the bird and nursed it back to health. The bird was a beautiful swallow. When spring came and the swallow was fully healed, he thanked Thumbelina for saving him. "Come with me," he said. "I will fly you out of this dark hole into the sunshine." Thumbelina sadly refused the bird. She didn't want to leave the field mouse without saying goodbye. The mole, who had grown very fond of Thumbelina, asked her to marry him. Too scared to refuse, she accepted. The mouse and the mole began to prepare for the wedding. On the eve of her wedding, Thumbelina went outside one last time to say goodbye to the outside world. She was sad sobbing when she heard a tweet, tweet from above. It was the swallow, and he had come to fly her away. The bird carried her far away to a beautiful meadow. Thumbelina asked to be placed on a lovely white flower. The bird flew her down and placed her on one of the flower's large white petals. Thumbelina gasped. There in the middle of the flower there stood a handsome young man, the same size as her. The tiny man was in fact the prince of the flower fairies. The prince and Thumbelina fell in love. He asked her to be his wife, and they were married and lived happily ever after. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Frog Prince. There was once an evil fairy who turned a prince into a frog. The fairy placed the frog into a well. One day a beautiful princess was playing near the well with her golden ball. The ball fell into the well with a splash. The princess pleaded with the frog to return her ball. The frog fetched the ball for the princess. The princess took the ball and ran back to the palace without the frog. The princess told her father what had happened. He warned her to keep the promises she had made. So the princess let the frog eat from her plate and sleep in her bed. After the third night, the princess awoke to find a handsome prince standing there. The prince and the princess were married and lived happily ever after. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. There was once a boy who looked after sheep. The boy was bored. One day, he played a trick on the villagers. The boy cried out that there was a wolf attacking his sheep, even though there wasn't. The villagers came up the hill to save the sheep. When they got there, there was no wolf. The boy laughed at them. "You must not tell lies," said the villagers. They went back to the village. Soon the boy was bored again. He shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" The villagers rushed up the hill to save the sheep. When they got there, there was no wolf again. The boy laughed at them again. "You must not tell lies," shouted the villagers. They went back down to the village. Later that day, a wolf did come into the field. The boy shouted and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf!" This time no one came to help, and the wolf ate all of the sheep. The moral of the story is, if you tell lies, people won't believe you when you do tell the truth. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Jack and the Beanstalk. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Jack. Jack lived in a cottage with his mother. They were very poor, and their most valuable possession was a cow. One day, Jack's mother asked him to take the cow to market to sell. On the way, Jack met a man who gave him some magic beans in exchange for the cow. When Jack came home with the beans, his mother was angry. She threw the beans out the window and sent him to bed. The next morning, Jack looked out the window. A giant beanstalk had grown in the garden. Jack decided to climb the beanstalk. It was so tall it went right up to the sky and through the clouds. When Jack finally reached the top, he saw an enormous castle. Jack decided to go inside. All the furniture was huge. Suddenly, Jack heard a loud noise. He ran into a cupboard to hide. An enormous giant came into the room. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman, he bellowed. The giant sat down at the table. On the table was a hen and a golden harp. Lay, said the giant. The hen laid an egg. It was made out of solid gold. Sing, said the giant. The harp sang. The giant fell asleep. Jack jumped out of the cupboard and took the hen and the harp. As Jack ran, the harp cried, "Help, master!" The giant woke up and called, "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." He chased Jack to the top of the beanstalk. Jack climbed down the beanstalk, and the giant followed him. As Jack got to the bottom of the beanstalk, he shouted, "Help!" Jack's mother came out with an axe. She used it to chop the bottom of the beanstalk. The giant fell and crashed to the ground. He was never seen again. With the golden eggs and the magic harp, Jack and his mother lived happily ever after. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs. Each little pig wanted to build his own house. One built his house out of straw. The third little pig built his house out of bricks. Another pig built his house out of sticks. The next day, a big bad wolf came to the first house. Little pig, let me in," he snarled. "Not by the hair on my chin," cried the first little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," growled the big bad wolf. Then he blew the house down. The first little pig ran to the second little pig's house. Then the big bad wolf came to the second house. Little pig, let me in," he snarled. "Not by the hair on my chin," cried the second little pig. "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down," growled the big bad wolf. Then he blew the house down. The first and second little pigs ran to the third little pig's house. Then the big bad wolf came to the third house. Little pig, let me in," he snarled. "Not by the hair on my chin," cried the third little pig. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down, growled the big bad wolf. He huffed and he puffed, but he couldn't blow the house down. The big bad wolf was so angry that he climbed down the chimney and landed in a big pot of stew. Splash! He jumped out and ran away. The big bad wolf never came back. The three little pigs lived happily ever after in the house made of bricks. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time there was a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She lived with her mother in a village near a forest. One day, Little Red Riding Hood went to visit her grandmother. She took a basket of food with her. On her way, Little Red Riding Hood met a wolf. "Hello," said the wolf. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to visit my grandmother who lives in the forest," explained Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf ran to her grandmother's house. He went inside and locked her in the wardrobe. He put on her nightgown and got into her bed. A little later, Little Red Riding Hood came to the house. She knocked on the door, then went inside. Little Red Riding Hood went over to grandmother's bed. "Oh, Granny, what big ears you have," she said. "All the better to hear you with," answered the wolf. "Oh, Granny, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to see you with," replied the wolf. "Oh, Granny, what big teeth you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with," said the wolf. "Help!" shouted Little Red Riding Hood as she realized that there was a wolf in her grandmother's bed. She ran out of the house. A woodcutter was nearby. He heard Little Red Riding Hood scream and ran to the house. The woodcutter hit the wolf over the head. The wolf ran away and Little Red Riding Hood never saw him again. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Aladdin. Once upon a time there lived a poor widow woman and her son Aladdin. One day Aladdin met a mysterious stranger who claimed to be his long-lost uncle. Aladdin ran home and told his mother. The man said he would help make Aladdin rich. The next day the uncle took Aladdin into the desert. They traveled a long way until they reached the foot of a mountain. The man claiming to be Aladdin's uncle was actually a magician in disguise. He lit a fire and said some magic words, and in a puff of smoke a door to a cave in the mountain appeared. The opening was just large enough for the boy to fit through, but it was much too small for the magician. The magician sent Aladdin into the cave. "Do not touch anything," said the magician, "only bring me the lamp." Aladdin entered the cave. On the floor he found a ring, and despite the magician's orders, he picked it up and placed it on his finger. Deep in the cave, Aladdin found the lamp. Aladdin took the lamp back to the magician. "Hand me the lamp," ordered the magician. Aladdin realized it was a trick and that the magician meant to trap him. "I will only give you the lamp once I am out of the cave," he cried. The magician was angry and blocked the cave entrance with a boulder, trapping Aladdin inside. Aladdin rubbed the ring on his finger and to his surprise a genie appeared. "Master, your wish is my command," he said. Aladdin wished to go home and soon he was back with his mother. Aladdin's mother told him to sell the lamp so they could buy some food. As Aladdin was polishing the lamp to get it ready for sale, a powerful genie appeared. "Master, your wish is my command," he said. Aladdin wished for a feast for himself and his mother. Aladdin used the magic of the lamp to become rich and powerful. He married the daughter of the Sultan and they lived in a grand palace. One day the magician heard the story of Aladdin and visited the palace to find the lamp. The magician tricked Aladdin's wife into swapping the old lamp for a new one. With the power of the lamp, the magician transported the palace and the princess to a faraway land. When Aladdin returned, he found the palace gone, but he used the genie in the ring to take him to his wife. Aladdin and the princess took back the magic lamp and banished the magician from the realm. Aladdin asked the genie to move the palace back to their home and they lived happily ever after. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Zoo Vet. On Monday, George the giraffe visited the vet. He had a sore throat. The vet gave George some medicine and a scarf to wrap around his neck. Thanks to the vet, the patient soon began to feel much better. On Tuesday, Fatima the flamingo visited the vet. She had a broken wing. The vet bandaged Fatima's wing and put it into a sling. On Wednesday, Cam the chameleon visited the vet. He had a temperature. The vet put a cool flannel on Cam's head and gave him plenty of water to drink. Thanks to the vet, the patient soon began to feel much better. On Thursday, Eric the elephant visited the vet. He had a bad cold. The vet gave Eric a big hanky and a hot water bottle. Thanks to the vet, the patient soon began to feel much better. On Friday, Tori the tiger visited the vet. She had a thorn stuck in her paw. The vet pulled the thorn out of Tori's paw and wrapped it in a bandage. Thanks to the vet, the patient soon began to feel much better. Oh no! On Saturday, it was the vet who was feeling poorly. On Sunday, he put some cream on his spots and got plenty of rest. And soon began to feel much better. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Lion and the Rabbit. There once was a land with abundant grass and water, where many animals lived. Despite the natural resources, the animals were not happy because of the greedy lion that preyed on them. His appetite was insatiable. One day, the animals called a meeting with the lion to try and find a solution to the problem of so many of them being eaten. The animals announced to the lion, "We have a solution that means we will be safe and you will not have to worry about hunting." "Oh yes? What would that be?" asked the lion. The animals answered, "If you stop chasing and frightening us all the time, we will send one of us to you at lunchtime every day." The lion accepted the proposal. The rabbit was the first animal sent to be the lion's lunch. But he was smart and had come up with an idea to save himself as well as get rid of the lion. He told the other animals that he had a plan. The animals asked, "What is your plan, little rabbit?" He answered, "Just let me arrive late for the lion's lunch and leave the rest to me." The animals agreed, hoping to be rid of the lion. The next day the rabbit arrived late. The lion was waiting impatiently. He was hungry and angry, so he snarled at the rabbit, "Why are you late?" The clever rabbit answered him, "I am the messenger for the animals. They sent a different rabbit with me to be your lunch today, but another lion followed me and took it from me. The lion claimed that he was more deserving than you and was more important than you. I ran as fast as I could to you to tell you what happened." The lion roared furiously and said, "Take me to that lion." The rabbit took him to a water well and said to the lion, "This is the place." The lion looked into the well and saw his own reflection in the water. He also saw the reflection of the rabbit in the water. Believing that the reflections were the other lion and rabbit, he jumped into the well to fight the lion. The rabbit ran away, leaving the lion in the well. The rabbit came back and proudly told the other animals what it had done to the greedy lion. The animals were able to live in peace on the land that was abundant with grass and water. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Gingerbread Man. Once upon a time, there lived a little old woman and a little old man. One day, the little old woman made a gingerbread man. When she opened the oven, the gingerbread man jumped off the baking tray and ran out of the house. The little old woman and the little old man ran after the gingerbread man yelling, "Stop! Stop!" Sadly, they could not catch him. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The gingerbread man ran until he came to a cat. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the cat. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The gingerbread man ran until he came to a dog. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the dog. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The gingerbread man ran on. Then he came to a cockerel. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the cockerel. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The gingerbread man ran down the lane and came to a pig. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the pig. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." A little further on, the gingerbread man came to a cow. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the cow. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The gingerbread man ran on. Then he came to a horse. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the horse. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." It was not long before the gingerbread man came to a boy. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the boy. The gingerbread man just laughed and said, "Run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The gingerbread man kept running and came to a girl. "Stop! You look good enough to eat," said the girl, and she joined in the chase. The gingerbread man ran on until he came to a river. He stopped as he could not swim. Just then, a fox came by. "I can help you cross the river," said the fox. "Just hop onto my tail and I will swim across." The gingerbread man saw the others coming. He knew that if he did not go with the fox, he would be eaten. So he jumped onto his tail. Soon the gingerbread man began to get wet. "Climb onto my back," said the fox, so the gingerbread man did. The water was getting even deeper. This time the fox said, "Jump onto my nose so that you don't get wet." The gingerbread man climbed onto the tip of his nose. Just then, the fox tipped back his head and the gingerbread man flew into the air. The fox opened his mouth and snapped. That was the end of the gingerbread man. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, there lived a merchant who had 3 daughters. The youngest, Beauty, was the most caring and beautiful of the sisters. The family were poor and lived in the country. Beauty's sisters often moaned about not having money, but Beauty never complained. One day, before going to market, the merchant asked what his daughters would like him to bring back. Beauty's sisters asked for beautiful dresses. "All I ask for," said Beauty, "is your safe return and 1 rose." But the merchant didn't sell anything at the market, and on his way home he became lost in a dark forest. He was wandering around for a very long time until he came across a clearing in the forest, in which stood a castle. He decided to take shelter in the castle, so he went inside. He found lots of food and ate it all, and then fell asleep in a chair by the fire. In the morning he left the castle to continue with his journey. As he walked outside he saw a rose bush, so he picked a rose for Beauty. Suddenly, a great beast jumped out from behind the bush, roaring, "How dare you eat all my food, sleep in my home and then steal my roses?" Beauty's dad explained it was for his lovely daughter. The beast agreed to let him go, as long as he sent Beauty back to the castle in his place. Beauty agreed to go, and so she packed her bags and went to live in the castle. The beast treated her with a lot of kindness and they became friends. But Beauty missed her family. The beast had come to love Beauty and didn't want her to be sad. He gave her a magic mirror that would allow her to see her family whenever she looked in it. One day she looked in the mirror and saw that her dad was very poorly. The beast refused to let Beauty go back and look after him, but when he saw how terribly miserable this made her, he let her go. Beauty's dad soon became well and she forgot about the beast. But one night she had a horrible dream that the beast was very ill and about to die. She rushed back to the castle to be by his side. When she returned to the beast, she begged him not die as she had come to love him and wanted to live with him forever. The beast miraculously became well and turned into a handsome prince. He told Beauty that long ago, a curse had been placed upon him by a nasty witch that turned him into a beast. The curse would only be broken when someone truly loved him, which Beauty had done. Soon afterwards, Beauty and the prince were married and lived long and happy lives together. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Alice in Wonderland. It was a warm day in summer. Alice was sitting in the sunshine and she was reading a book with her sister. The book was terribly boring and Alice began to feel sleepy. Suddenly, a small, white rabbit raced past. The rabbit was wearing clothes. He pulled a watch from his pocket to check the time. He cried, "Oh dear! Oh no! I'm late! I'm late!" The rabbit shook his head and then disappeared down a rabbit hole. Alice followed the rabbit to the hole. She peered through the entrance, but she could no longer see the rabbit. She squeezed her head and shoulders into the hole. Then, she wriggled her body a little further. Suddenly, Alice felt herself falling. For a long time, she tumbled down the rabbit hole. Finally, she landed with a bump in a long hallway which had a tiny door at the end of it. "I'm far too big to fit through such a little door," Alice said to herself. Nearby, on a three-legged table, she found a small bottle. The bottle had a label on it which read, "Drink me." Alice quickly drank from the bottle. Alice shrank until she was as small as a doll. She opened the door and quickly ran through it. "Oh, I'll never get back to the right size," Alice cried. She began to look for help. Soon, Alice met a green caterpillar who was sitting on top of a large mushroom. The caterpillar explained, "Well, I may be able to help if size is your only problem. One side of this mushroom will make you bigger, but the other side will make you smaller." Alice cut a piece from the left side of the mushroom and she took a small bite. "Thank goodness! I'm growing," she cried. "Which way should I go now?" puzzled Alice. "That path will lead you to the Mad Hatter's tea party," said a cat who was sitting in a tree. Alice walked down the path. She came across a long table which had been set ready for a tea party. "How lovely! A tea party!" she cried. "There's no room for you," shouted the Mad Hatter as Alice arrived. Alice ignored him and sat down anyway. She wanted to have a cup of tea with the March Hare and a sleepy, little mouse. After the tea party, Alice continued walking. She found herself in the middle of a field where the Queen of Hearts was playing croquet. "Have you ever played croquet?" asked the Queen of Hearts. "Yes," Alice answered, "but I've never used a flamingo or a hedgehog to do so." "You will play with me and let me win or I'll chop off your head," ordered the Queen of Hearts. Alice wasn't very good at croquet. "Off with her head," cried the Queen of Hearts. Just then, Alice felt someone touch her shoulder. "Wake up! You've been sleeping," said Alice's sister. "I had a strange dream," said Alice. Alice told her sister all about her adventure. Before long, Alice realized that she hadn't eaten for hours and she ran inside for something to eat. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Pinocchio. Once upon a time, there was an old man named Geppetto. He lived alone and longed for a child. Geppetto made a puppet. He called it Pinocchio. When Geppetto was sleeping, the blue fairy appeared and cast a spell on the puppet. When Geppetto awoke, he found that Pinocchio could speak and move. Geppetto loved and cared for Pinocchio like a son. Pinocchio saw a puppet show and decided to join in. He did so well he was paid 5 bronze coins. Pinocchio met a fox and a cat. They told him if he planted his coins under a magic tree, he would become rich. But they were trying to trick Pinocchio so they could take his money. The Blue Fairy sent a dog to scare them off. The Blue Fairy asked Pinocchio why he had not been to school that day. Pinocchio lied and his nose grew. The Blue Fairy asked Pinocchio where he had put the bronze coins. Pinocchio lied a second time and his nose grew even bigger. The Blue Fairy told Pinocchio his nose would only shrink when he told the truth. Pinocchio went to the circus with some boys. They ate lots of sweets. The boys began to turn into donkeys. Pinocchio only grew ears and a tail because he was made of wood. He was thrown into the sea and his ears and tail fell off. Pinocchio was swallowed by a huge whale. His father was inside the whale too. They built a raft and escaped. Pinocchio saved his father from a big storm. When they arrived home, the Blue Fairy waved her wand and turned Pinocchio into a real boy. Pinocchio and Geppetto lived happily ever after. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Ugly Duckling. Once upon a time, a mother duck was waiting for her eggs to hatch. The eggs were white, all except one. Soon the eggs began to hatch, and the duck became a proud mother of 5 little ducklings. But one egg remained. Finally, the last duckling hatched. But he was different from the other ducklings. Why are you different? Nobody loves me because I am different. The ugly duckling left home to look for a place he belonged. He came across some other birds, but they did not want to be friends with such an odd-looking duckling. You look strange. You're ugly. An old woman found the duckling and put him in her hutch. The woman's hen warned the duckling that she planned to eat him. The poor duckling escaped and hid in some reeds. He saw some beautiful birds fly above him, and he wished that he was like them. Winter came and the little duckling was cold. But a farmer found him and kept him safe until the spring. When spring came, the farmer took the duckling to the pond and released him. Something wonderful had happened. The duckling had grown into a beautiful swan. He soon made lots of new friends and was the most beautiful swan of them all. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Lion and the Mouse. A lion lay asleep in the forest, his great head resting on his paws. A timid little mouse came upon him unexpectedly, and in her fright and haste to get away, ran across the lion's nose. Roused from his nap, the lion laid his huge paw angrily on the tiny creature to kill her. "Spare me," begged the poor mouse. "Please let me go, and someday I will surely repay you." The lion was amused to think that a mouse could ever help him. But he was generous and finally let the mouse go. Some days later, while stalking his prey in the forest, the lion was caught in a hunter's net. Unable to free himself, he filled the forest with his angry roaring. The mouse knew the voice and quickly found the lion struggling in the net. Running to one of the great ropes that bound him, she gnawed it until it parted, and soon the lion was free. "You laughed when I said I would repay you," said the mouse. "Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion." This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Undersea Cleaning Spree. The sea is such a wondrous place with forests, reefs and caves. There are countless creatures living in a world beneath the waves. The water is their haven, it's the only home they know, while the up is somewhere unexplored, where most will never go. One night, when Blub the octopus was sleeping in her bed, she was woken by a stranger, who had landed on her head. "Hello," said Blub. "You must be new. I've not seen you around." But the fish refused to answer her, it didn't make a sound. As days went by, more strangers came who also didn't talk. They were drifting down but didn't seem to scuttle, swim, or walk. It wasn't long before they started getting in the way, causing harm to all the creatures as they tried to swim and play. Blub wanted to be friendly, so she greeted those she found, but a manta ray called Manty swam up next to her and frowned. "Whoever are you talking to?" she asked. "There's no one there." "It's these fish," said Blub. "They're new here, but they only sit and stare." "These things aren't fish," said Manty. "They've just fallen from the up. They are human things with silly names like bottle, bag, and cup. But don't the humans need them?" wondered Blub, a bit confused, and they hatched a plan to send them back to where they could be used. The up was quite a scary place, but Blub was feeling brave, so she swam towards the surface, where she bobbed upon a wave. She then began to throw things, first with one arm, then with 8. Having lots of arms for throwing was a really useful trait. "Let's dive back down," said Manty, "and collect up even more." So they gathered lots of objects and returned them to the shore. It wasn't long till other creatures started cleaning too, from across the seas and oceans, from the Arctic to Peru. The creatures threw some items, then some others, then some more, and created many massive piles of rubbish on the shore. The humans moaned and grumbled as the clutter clogged their space. "We should throw it back to sea," said one. "This mess is a disgrace." A little boy saw Blub and all the creatures in the bay. "It's not fair," he said. "If we don't want this rubbish, why would they?" He stood upon a rock and then began to make a speech. "We should really find a better way to tidy up the beach." The people soon took action as his plea was understood, and they sorted all the rubbish to reuse the bits they could. They quickly worked together till the beach was litter-free, so the things no longer needed wouldn't end up in the sea. When all the waste had gone, the humans gathered by the shore, and they promised that the things they used would harm the sea no more. They tried to use less plastic and, instead, did all they could to use eco-friendly objects made from glass, bamboo, and wood. The creatures smiled and cheered because the ocean was now clean. It was safer and much nicer when their home was so pristine. The water is their haven, it's the only home they know, and the up's now full of people who protect what's down below. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Rapunzel. Once upon a time, there lived a man and his wife. They lived in a house next door to a witch. The wife longed to eat the lettuces in the witch's beautiful garden. One day, the husband decided to steal some of the lettuces for his wife. The witch caught him. The witch told the husband that his wife was soon to have a baby. He must give the baby to the witch in return for the lettuce. The man was so scared that he agreed. When the little girl was born, the witch took her away and named her Rapunzel. When Rapunzel grew up, the witch locked her away in a tower in the middle of the forest. While Rapunzel lived in the tower, her golden hair grew longer and longer. When the witch visited, she would call to Rapunzel to let down her hair, and the witch would climb up. One day, a handsome prince found the tower in the forest. He watched the witch come to the tower and climb Rapunzel's hair. When the witch had gone, the prince climbed up the tower using Rapunzel's hair. The prince visited Rapunzel every day. When the witch found out, she was angry. The witch made a plan. She cut Rapunzel's hair and sent her off into the forest. The witch tricked the prince and threw him out of the tower. The prince fell on some thorns and scratched his eyes, which made him blind. For a long time, he wandered in the forest. One day, the prince heard Rapunzel singing in the forest. When she saw it was her prince, she cried with happiness. Her tears touched his eyes and he could see again. They lived happily ever after in his kingdom. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Fox and the Crow. Master Crow sat on a tree, holding a cheese in his beak. Master Fox was attracted by the odor, and tried to attract him thus. Mr. Crow, good day to you. You are a handsome-looking bird. In truth, if your song is as beautiful as your plumage, you are the phoenix of this forest. Hearing these words, the crow felt great joy, and to demonstrate his beautiful voice, he opened his mouth wide and let drop his prey. The fox seized it and said, "My good sir, know that every flatterer lies at the expense of those who take him seriously. This is a lesson that is worth a cheese, no doubt." The crow, embarrassed and confused, swore, though somewhat later, that he would never be tricked again. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Cinderella. Once upon a time there lived a beautiful girl called Cinderella. Cinderella lived with two ugly sisters and her wicked stepmother. They were very unkind to Cinderella and made her do a lot of hard work. One day, an invitation came from the palace that invited everyone to the prince's ball. The wicked stepmother didn't allow Cinderella to go. The day of the ball arrived and Cinderella was left at the house. "I do wish I could go to the ball," she said. Just then, a lovely old lady with a gold wand in her hand appeared in the room. "I am your fairy godmother and you shall go to the ball," she said. The fairy godmother asked Cinderella to find her a pumpkin, 6 mice, a rat, and 6 lizards. With the touch of her wand, the fairy godmother turned the pumpkin into a magnificent coach, the mice into 6 magnificent horses, the rat into a coachman, and the lizards into 6 footmen. Then the fairy godmother touched Cinderella with her wand. Cinderella's old dress turned into a beautiful gown, and on her feet were the prettiest glass slippers. "Remember, you must leave the ball before the clock strikes 12, said the fairy godmother. Cinderella arrived at the ball. She looked so beautiful that everyone wondered who she was. The prince asked Cinderella to dance, and they danced together all night. Cinderella was enjoying herself so much that she didn't notice the time. Midnight approached and the clock began to strike. Cinderella ran out of the palace. As she ran down the stairs, one of her glass slippers fell off. The prince ran after her, but he was too late. He found her glass slipper on the steps. The next morning, the prince went from house to house with the glass slipper. At last the prince came to Cinderella's house. The first ugly sister tried on the slipper, but her foot was too wide. The second ugly sister tried on the slipper, but her foot was too long. "Please, may I try on the slipper?" asked Cinderella. The slipper fit perfectly. The prince asked Cinderella to marry him. They both lived happily ever after. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. Sparks in the sky. It was early evening and Bo was very excited. She was going to her first bonfire night celebration with Mom, Dad, Gran, and her big brother, Leo. Everyone put on their soft woolly hats and thick cozy scarves. As they entered the park, Bo could see the bonfire from high up on her dad's shoulders. It didn't look how she imagined it, though. "They'll light it later, when it gets dark," Dad explained. Once they had walked through the gates, Bo could smell the delicious, smoky scent of barbecue in the air. Everyone's tummies were rumbling loudly. "Can we get a hot dog, Mom? Please?" Bo asked eagerly. Leo took a bite of his hot dog and a large splodge of ketchup dripped down and splattered on his favorite trainers. He looked even grumpier than usual. After they'd finished their hot dogs, it was time for the fairground rides. Everything was so colorful and noisy. Bo couldn't decide what to go on first. Leo wanted to ride the roller coaster, but Bo grabbed his hand and dragged him towards the carousel. Bo grinned and chose the golden horse with the silver saddle, and Leo helped her to climb on. Everyone gathered around the bonfire as the guy was placed on top and the fire was lit. Slowly, the fire began to grow, making the wood crackle and spit. Small sparks rose gently into the air and disappeared. Bo could feel the heat from the fire on her cheeks. Mom bought sparklers and told Leo and Bo to put their gloves on. Carefully, Mom lit the sparklers. Bo twirled her hand excitedly, making swirling patterns in the air and writing her name. It was so much fun watching the golden sparkles appear and then disappear. Bo looked at Leo and noticed his sparkler hadn't lit. Once her sparkler was finished, she placed it into the bucket of sand and asked Mom for a new one. She handed it to Leo and asked Mom to light it. Leo twirled his sparkler slowly and Bo thought she almost saw him smile. Finally, it was time to see some fireworks. Bo watched as the Catherine wheel was nailed to a wooden post. Once lit, it twinkled and flickered as it spun faster and faster, becoming a dazzling blur. Everyone waited as the rockets were lit, one at a time. The man made sure to stand well back between lighting each one. The rockets raced into the air and erupted with a bang in a shower of sparks. The best fireworks had been saved for the finale. They shot up into the air, exploding one after the other. Some crackled, some crashed loudly, while others popped. The sparks shot in all directions, painting multicolored patterns on the night sky. Bo looked at Leo. He was staring up at the fireworks, and she saw that he was finally smiling. She gently took his hand, and they stood together as the last firework dashed into the sky with a whoosh. "I love bonfire night," said Bo giddily. "Can we do this every day?" "I'm afraid you'll have to wait until the 5th of November next year," said Leo, chuckling as they walked home. Bo is excited to see her first fireworks. They shot up into the air, exploding one after the other. Join Bo as she enjoys the sights, sounds and smells of bonfire night with her big brother, Leo. A heartwarming tale to celebrate this magical night. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Christmas Story. The angel Gabriel visited Mary and told her she was going to have a baby called Jesus. The baby would be God's son. Mary told Joseph what Gabriel had told her. They prepared for the arrival of the special baby. Mary and Joseph had to travel to Bethlehem to register in a census. A kind innkeeper in Bethlehem let Mary and Joseph stay in his stable for the night. Baby Jesus was born in the stable. Baby Jesus was born in the stable. The shepherds walked to Bethlehem to visit the baby Jesus. Far away in the east, wise men saw a bright star in the sky. They knew it meant that a new king had been born and followed the star. On the way they came to King Herod's palace. Herod was curious about the new king. He asked the wise men to tell him where the baby was. The wise men reached Bethlehem. They gave Jesus gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. That night, the wise men had a dream warning them not to tell King Herod where Jesus was. They did not return to King Herod's palace. Herod began to search for baby Jesus. He ordered that all baby boys in Bethlehem be killed. Joseph had a dream where an angel told him to take Mary and Jesus to Egypt. Mary and Joseph traveled to Egypt with baby Jesus and he was safe. This is the end of the story. Thanks for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye.
Jonah and the Big Fish. God said to Jonah, "Go to Nineveh." Jonah pretended not to hear God. Jonah ran away from God because he didn't want to do what God was asking. He knew the people of Nineveh were bad. Jonah ran to the sea and got on a boat that was going away from Nineveh. Jonah fell sound asleep on the boat and God sent a storm. The other people on the boat were scared and worried. They knew that God was mad. They woke Jonah up and threw him into the sea. Jonah was swallowed up by a huge fish. While Jonah was inside the fish, he said sorry to God and the fish spat Jonah out. Jonah praised God and listened to him. Once again God said to Jonah, "Go to Nineveh." This time Jonah went and the people of Nineveh listened to him. They also said sorry to God. This is the end. Thank you for watching. And please subscribe our channel. Bye. The Little Red Hen. Once upon a time, there was a little red hen. The little red hen lived on a farm and was friends with a lazy dog, a sleepy cat, and a noisy duck. One day, the little red hen found some grains of wheat on the ground. "Who will help me plant these grains of wheat?" the little red hen asked. Not I, barked the lazy dog. Not I, purred the sleepy cat. Not I, quacked the noisy duck. Then I will, said the little red hen. So the little red hen planted the grains all by herself. When the wheat had grown, the little red hen asked her friends, "Who will help me cut the wheat?" Not I, barked the lazy dog. Not I, purred the sleepy cat. Not I, quacked the noisy duck. Then I will, said the little red hen. So the little red hen cut the wheat all by herself. When all the wheat was cut, the little red hen asked, "Who will help me take the wheat to the mill, to be made into flour?" Not I, barked the lazy dog. Not I, purred the sleepy cat. Not I, quacked the noisy duck. Then I will, said the little red hen. So the little red hen took the wheat to the mill, ground the wheat into flour, and carried it back to the farm all by herself. By now, the little red hen was tired. "Who will help me bake the bread?" asked little red hen. Not I, barked the lazy dog. Not I, purred the sleepy cat. Not I, quacked the noisy duck. Then I will, said the little red hen. So the little red hen baked the bread all by herself. When the bread was finished, the little red hen asked, "Who will help me eat the bread?" I will, barked the lazy dog. I will, purred the sleepy cat. I will, quacked the noisy duck. No, I will, said the little red hen. So the little red hen ate the bread all by herself. This is the end. Thank you.